Now this one is not gonna have a happy ending, kind of unfortunate, but let's go into what happened at this restaurant. Another place that we were able to check out here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina is a place called Makos Beach Bar and Grill. Starters, Makos, if you remember the restaurants in the 1990s, in fact, even like Red Lobster kind of had this very similar decor. This restaurant is like a trip back in time to like the late 80s, early 90s. For me, I was a teenager at that time. I'm very nostalgic for that time period. The place is very much a product of its environment here. The menu kind of spans a lot of things from seafood type items to sandwiches and burgers and things that are very safe. And we noticed that a lot on the island here. A lot of the places that we ate at are very safe in terms of making sure they can please all the palates. As far as what I wanted to eat, if I go to a place like this, I gotta order some fried seafood. And honestly, I wasn't terribly hungry on this day. So I just went with the fried shrimp, and they have a dish that's on there. It's a dozen fried shrimp, battered and fried, for $20. And it comes with 2 sides. So had to go with that. Before we could even get to the food, I had to order a beverage. I got this Hurricane. It was like a bunch of rums with some orange juice. I think some kind of coconut, maybe coconut rum or something. Totally refreshing, totally amazing. There was a little floater on top of it of some kind of 137. I honestly don't even remember what was in it, but it was really good, really refreshing. And by the time our drinks came, the waitress also brought over some rolls and butter, these little sweet potato biscuits that were just like out of this world. Something that I've never had before. I think a sweet potato biscuit would be something pretty easy to make, you know, nice and soft, a little flaky. And the roll was also like super really dense and thick and light. And it was, I can't even describe what it was like. A little bit of butter on that thing and we were good to go. As far as just fried shrimp dinner, I had to go with that just because I don't like ordering kind of unknown seafoods. And you know, in an area like this that's high in tourism, I think shrimp is a safe bet for me at least. And it came with 2 sides. I went with slaw just because we've been doing slaw pretty much everywhere here. And then I also went with a little bit of the cheese grits on the side. The slaw, as far as I was concerned, was a 1-bite slaw. It was not very good at all, and I was kind of sad for them. It had a lot of red onion, and I think that might have tainted the taste a little bit. It was very strong and not in a good way, not very creamy. I'm sure there's a market for people who probably like that slaw like that, but it wasn't me, not for me. The cheese grits, on the other hand, were absolutely incredible, really creamy, nice thick grits, kind of get a little bit of like a little bit of chew to them. Like I said, nice and creamy. You really can't go wrong with those. I almost wanted to dunk the shrimp in the grits, but the shrimp kind of came with a little bit of tartar sauce and cocktail sauce. And I think in this case here, I was a little more keen on the cocktail sauce. I don't feel like either of them are homemade, honestly, but that's to say it's probably safe and good to go. The shrimp weren't very good. I don't want to act like it was a bad experience or anything. They were tasty. They were just lacking a lot of seasoning. It was just a lot of breading and not a whole bunch of seasoning. But you know, a nice little $20 dozen shrimp, you really can't go wrong with that. A good amount of stuff. I would say the meal, it was funny, they plated Cassie's like fried seafood platter on like a fish dish. Totally tacky, but totally, like I said, you're taking a trip back in time. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you hit a like and subscribe if you like food. I mentioned there wasn't a happy ending to this story, and it's unfortunate. We found out while we were waiting for our drinks that Cassie was reading on their Google reviews, and the owner had responded to somebody who had left a very positive review, just saying that this would be their last season here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And I think looking into it a little bit further, it looks like the town or county or whatever it is that Makos resides in, that they bought that land and they're going to be developing some kind of either hospital or medical type thing. But I'm really happy we were able to check it out before they closed, because like I said, it was like a little bit of a time machine back into the early 90s. If you want to check out my review of like a bona fide like oyster bar fish place here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, I'll leave that review of Awful Arthur's right here.